Hi everyone, Kim here in Northern California, Zone 9B, and as of right now, this is Olive City Permaculture. Used to be Olive City Homestead, and guess what? I'm about to make another name change. Stick with me if you want to find out why and what direction this channel is going. Red Roselle Hibiscus Iced Tea. It is so good. Kind of a combination flavor of rhubarb, lime, and cranberry with an extra tang of citrus. Yeah, it's its own flavor, definitely, but if you haven't had it before, that's how I would describe it. So good. So as far as why I originally changed the name from Olive City Homestead to Olive City Permaculture, it's kind of not even important now, but just in case you're curious, I know a few of you asked me. I'd always had a problem with the word homestead, actually, because I do a lot of research and writing in California history in the 1800s and the time of the pioneers and the homesteading movement in the late 1800s. And of course, what was a positive thing for the white people who were coming west in the country at that time was not a positive thing at all for the Native Americans. And so as the homesteaders were establishing their farms and small family plots and such, well, the Native Americans were being driven away from the land where they had always lived. And so I don't want to get into the politics of all that, but just the name homestead, if I pause to think about it for too long, would always make me slightly uncomfortable. But on the other hand, of course, I'm aware words change and that most people today do not look at that word that way, and they don't take away that kind of negative feeling from the word. Now, I'm definitely not judging anyone else here on YouTube. If you use the name Homestead on your channel, that is fine, of course. It's totally your choice. In fact, I follow a lot of channels with the name Homestead in the title. This was just a personal thing, both with the history that's bound up in the word and my feeling that my channel and I didn't really fit in with the homestead community anyway. That's what eventually led me to change the name. Yes, slightly the word, but also because I actually didn't fit in with the homestead channels that much. Most of them had more land than me, not all. Most of them had a partner, usually a husband. Most of them were quite a bit younger, although not all. And most of them were quite conservative in every way. Again, there were exceptions, but I didn't really fit in with any of those categories. Not to mention, I don't have a milk cow, I don't have a tractor, and until very recently, I didn't even have a pickup truck. But on the other hand, I also don't fit in with the gardening channels that are all about gorgeous flowers, although I do have some gorgeous flowers. So I really didn't think these would be blooming this year, and so beautifully, because I only planted the bulbs in April. It's hard to believe when you look at them now that they've only been growing that long. So I'm just so pleased. Plus, one of the very big benefits, in my opinion, is that these wonderful flowers are not attractive, apparently, to the squirrels at all. The squirrels didn't touch them when they were bulbs under the ground, as they did a couple of years ago with my hyacinth, and they have left them completely alone now that they're blooming so magnificently. I'm so glad I chose these two colors to alternate because they go so well together, and I just love them both in different ways. You know what I mean, the ones who, they're mostly about flowers and they spend a lot more money than I have on hand to spend usually, and they just have a different feel, and I love a lot of them and follow them. It just wasn't where my channel fit. As I thought about it more and more, I decided to focus in on what it is about gardening that I myself emphasize and enjoy the most, and that is perennial plants and the whole concept of permaculture. And that is why I changed the name. However, it's coming up on 3 years since I started this whole YouTube journey. Mid-August will mark 3 years since I put out my very first few videos. And in that time, I've learned a lot, and I've really enjoyed sharing my garden and all I've been learning with all of you. But there's just so much more I want to share. and I have felt kind of restricted, especially over the last year. And so after a lot of thought, I've decided to expand my channel a bit and add in a little more variety. It will still have exactly the same flavor, I believe, but with added pizzazz. Now, I won't be taking away anything that I'm already doing. I'll still be doing the veggie and flower garden tours. I will still be taking you out into my orchard and sharing my fruit trees with you. I'll still be doing, how I deal with specific problems in the garden, like recently when my artichokes fell over and I had to get them staked up. I'll still be doing herb highlights like my videos on borage and chamomile, and I want to add in a lot more of those because herbs are so important to me and I use them so much, and I want to share more of that with you guys. Other things I'll still be doing: sharing in the spring the seeds that I'm planting, sharing some garden projects with you as I have in the past, like the medlar tree corner. And, the big, can I divide and replant my irises in the spring instead of the fall, and what will happen? Nursery tours and videos where I preserve food, although that's another area that I definitely want to expand because there's so much more in that area that I do and that I enjoy the benefits from. And a lot of it I didn't know anything about until the last 5 or 6 years. And so I think there are people out there who also don't know about how easy and how great these methods of preserving foods are. Aren't these zinnias and the pink cosmos so pretty? I've really been loving them. They're so low maintenance. They just keep blooming and blooming. And if they do like last summer, months on end. Now, what will be new on this channel of mine? And if you're wondering what the name's going to be, I am going to tell you right at the end. I think it will surprise you, and I feel like it really describes what my channel's gonna be. So, what are these new elements that I'm gonna add in to the channel? Well, for one thing, I'm going to be having some weekly tea talks. And, well, in the hot months, that's going to be iced tea, and in the cool months, of course, it will be hot tea. And these will all be my own herbal tea blends, which I will share the recipes with you, but also I'll share all the health benefits with you. But the tea is just sort of something that will be there every week during the talk. The talks will end up being 15 to 20 minutes long, and they will focus on a question or a theme. So the question might be something like, what do I do to help my plants deal with this intense summer heat? Or maybe it will be about fruit trees and why you need different types for cross-pollination and which ones you don't need that for. As far as themes go, definitely one of the things I'm going to be doing is sharing with you things that I am finding very valuable, either in my garden or in my daily life right now. The theme might be favorite flowers of the season, or it might be my favorite recipes I've been making this year. I don't know. I'm going to have fun with that one. So there's the weekly tea talks. What else am I going to add in? Well, a lot more do-it-yourself projects, because I do a lot of those, and they're not usually to do with construction, although this year I built myself a new chicken run and a new chicken coop, but often they're more household and garden related. For instance, I've got one coming up that I'm going to be tackling where I am creating a whole garden area at my driveway entrance around my mailbox. So right now it's a total ugly disaster. It's just a bunch of, well, weeds that I keep pretty much mowed and weed eated, and a drainage ditch. And nearby I have a couple of pecan trees. And there definitely is the space there to create a really beautiful little welcoming area. I've got some large stones, I've got wood chips for mulch, and I've got some plants that will love the full sun they're going to get there. So that is definitely a project that's upcoming. Sort of combined with that, I'm going to be sharing with you regular frugal tips, because I am on a very tight budget as an older woman approaching 60 who is single and has been for like over a decade. And there are a lot of great ways I've learned to save money. To be honest, I've been frugal all my life. I grew up very poor, and when you do that, you learn to make do. So I have a lot of frugal tips I can share, and I want to start sharing those. Another thing I want to add more of into the channel are road trips. In the past, I've mostly done garden nursery tours when I've taken a road trip, although I've also gone looking for new land, which I'm still doing because I am still planning to move. I'm putting my place up for sale most likely in the spring, and who knows how long it will take to sell, but yes, I do intend to move, so there's going to be more looking for land videos. And I think in the fall, I'm going to be doing one focused on southern Arizona. However, I also want to add in some other road trips where I take you to local, natural, gorgeous areas like waterfalls and mountain ranges and rivers. And I share some of that beauty with you, maybe along with some nature poetry, both my own and nature poetry that was written by real people in the past about these very real, natural, beautiful landmarks. Now there are 3 areas I'm going to be expanding into that I've never done before on this channel that I am excited to share with you. One of those is I'm going to be doing some cozy book reviews. Now I did do one book review video quite a while ago about some gardening books that was very well received, but now I want to share with you fiction as well as nonfiction that focuses on the cozy, because I love cozy mysteries so much, and I think some of you might too. And cozy nonfiction. For instance, I've got a book that is so good about Emily Dickinson and how her love of nature translated into her poetry, and it's super interesting and super cozy. I think that there is a lot I can share with you in the realm of books, and some of it, of course, will be about gardening, such as preserving the food you grow and propagating the plants you want to have more of, but for free. So yes, cozy book reviews. A second thing I'm going to add in, also very different, I'm going to add in probably once a month a planning / journaling video, because that is something that I've really been experimenting with and having a lot of fun with over the last few years. And so I thought that's a great thing to share with you, because all gardeners would benefit from and enjoy planning. And there's so many different ways you can do it. So I know there's a way that will fit your personality and that you will really gain a lot of help from. But also, personal planning can help you balance your life so that you give enough attention to your gardening and your food preserving and such, but you don't let it take over your life. You have some balance, although that word is somewhat mythical. Not just that you have the time to do all the different things you want to do, but so that you don't forget to do it all. Because that's where I certainly fell down and dropped the ball before I got into some planning. So I'm going to be sharing some of that with you. And lastly, I'm going to be dabbling into the vlog world just a bit, where I don't know how often, maybe once or twice a month, I do a vlog where I share with you maybe a typical day or two in my life, which would add in lots of various elements that you've never seen before that might focus on my health issues and how I deal with them, maybe the supplements I take or the exercises I do. Maybe they'll focus in on my new dog or more on my chickens and ducks. Maybe they'll focus in on a trip I take to a special event. Just yesterday, in fact, where I got this beautiful glass that is hand painted. I went with my youngest, Ray, to the city near here to one of their Pride events, which was an artisan marketplace. And not only did I pick up this great glass, but I also got a few other things that I know I'm going to enjoy, but also that have inspired me to try to create them. For instance, if you watched a few of my recent videos, you know that I make calendula balm, a sort of skin salve with it, and it smells wonderful, works great for dry skin. Well, I found an artisan at the market yesterday who makes a pain salve, and the ingredients in it are things that I grow in my own garden that I had no idea could be used in this way. So after I sample it and see what I think, because I definitely have some areas that could use that, I think I might try to make some of that salve myself and share how to do it with you all. And the vlogs might contain some of my work life where I write and I publish, and they also will probably include just some fun, sort of spontaneous moments. And we'll see how that goes. After almost 3 years of doing videos, I am getting very excited about the future of this channel with being able to add in so much more of my life and making the channel more of what I actually envision it being in the beginning and not just restricted strictly to the garden. So now the big moment, the reveal. What name have I come up with? Well, I thought a lot about it and I don't want to keep changing the name. So I think making the name a little broader enables it to encompass a lot more. So the new name of my channel starting tomorrow will be Olive City Oasis. And what does oasis mean? Well, by definition, the dictionary says it's a fertile spot or green area in an arid region, such as a desert. And definitely Northern California Zone 9B here is almost always desert-like in the lack of rain we get most of the year. And in the very, very intense heat we get in the summer months, usually from June through September, although it's only hitting now the very end of June this year. We had a very strange spring. But 9 times out of 10, here it feels totally like a desert. And of course, I've talked about the fact that I'm going to be moving, and some of the areas I'm looking at definitely are desert areas. So yes, a fertile or green area in a dry, arid region. But I really like the secondary meaning of the word as well. And I think it fits in perfectly with the way I view and experience my property here and the way I will create my gardens and orchards in the property I moved to, and the way I would like people to experience my channel. And that is with Oasis being something that provides refuge, relief, and pleasant contrast. I really love that definition and plan to make it a core part of this channel. Now, I also plan to have a subtitle which will appear on the channel banner art and which I'll probably mention in my videos. So the official channel title will be Olive City Oasis, but the subtitle will be My Cozy, Creative, Curious Life. And I think that that really describes a lot of the additions I'm going to bring into the channel. So I'm really satisfied with this name change. I really believe it's going to fuel the type of content I have going forward. Again, mostly the same, but with some great new extras I think a lot of people will enjoy, including me. I also think it reflects much more accurately who I am at heart, who I am as a very curious, creative person who loves gardening, but also loves a lot of other things. Now, if you want to get a head start on the type of videos I'm going to be including, you can take a look back at the video up above that's all about the big project I did in the medlar tree corner. And at the end, I'll also link to my recent garden tour, plus that book review video that I told you about. So if you've stuck with the video all the way through to the end, I really appreciate it, and I appreciate you. See you next time.